Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another webinar. It's all about survival of the fittest, the Crunchfish webinar each Friday morning, 8 o'clock, Central European time. And you're most welcome, all of you, joining in from Scandinavia and the rest of the world. Hopefully someone in India as well. And today, my name is Johan Wester, by the way. I'm the moderator here since a couple of weeks ago. And today it will be a fantastic show, I would say. We have a beautiful panel, a lovely gang of panelists. And here they are, and they're all named Joachim almost. We have Joachim Samuelsson, CEO of Crunchfish Group.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Hello. And then we have Joachim Nydemark, CEO of Crunchfish Gesture Interaction.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. And then, of course, Daniel Milesson, R&D Director at Crunchfish Gesture Interaction. Good morning. And just to give you all the feeling that that we had within the panel just 2 minutes ago, we were all sitting like this. Okay, come on. Okay, yes. Middle-aged men dancing in the morning. Perfect start. Okay, is it a good Friday? Let's start with Joachim Nydemark.
It's a beautiful Friday. It's sunshine, and we have an exciting webinar in front of us. So I'm taggad, we say in Sweden.
Taggad, it's a traditional Swedish word for, okay, I'm fine. No, it's... So he's tagged, and he will be the presenter. And then Joachim Samuelsson, tell us all about your morning.
Yeah, had a little bit of a breakfast. I'm gonna have my second breakfast in an hour. But
like the hobbits.
I was happy. I was happy for the Austrians. I think that was today's news, that now the country are not forcing the whole country to mandate a vaccination. So I was very happy about for the Austrians. So I cheered for that in the morning.
Yeah, we won't get you going on that subject actually. So and then Daniel, good morning. What have you been doing today?
Good morning, Johan. So my morning routine is to check on the trainings for the night. So the neural networks that are training every day, every hour. So my morning routine is always to check in and see what has happened. Is anything fun came up there?
Good morning, my neural network. Good morning. Okay, so we will talk about gesture interaction today, and of course, since we have this webinar each Friday, and we have every second week it's about digital cash, and then once a month, so to say, every fourth week, it's about gesture interaction. And I will give it to you, Joachim Nydemark. You will have your presentation. And of course, you who are watching this, you can participate by sending your questions, your reflections. Use the chat forum. Well, you know where it is. So please use that and write any questions you have, and I will be glad to pass them on. So we will have another, 50 minutes or so together. So let's use it in the best of ways. And Joachim Nydemark, it's been a interesting week. World news, tell us.
Yeah, so that is actually how I wanted to introduce this session, and that is by the announcement we made here early this week, Monday this week, about our new, in a way, not new generation, but certainly a new solution and a new product in our portfolio, and that is the XR Skeleton Stereo.
Yeah, so, great, and we will soon get you going on that. I'm just first question: give us the background. What made you start with gesture control? You can answer, all three of you. Where did the idea come from, Nydemark?
Yeah, so I think it all started with our CTO, Paul Kronholm, that made He's a master in science and physics, and very interested in this kind of areas. And he started to make trials in this space, and thought that this is probably the future, to use sort of a camera sensor to track and detect things, and that could be hands and anything actually. And this is how it all started back in 2010, 11, something like that.
Yeah. Joachim Samuelsson, anything to add to that background?
I think what they actually came up with was, you know how you can take panoramic pictures, and it's several pictures, and sometimes you can stitch them together. Yeah, you can stitch them together as one sort of very wide picture. And what they realized, I think this was in 2011, they realized that they can do it in real time. So that meant extremely fast sort of digital processing of pictures. And Paul thought that, well, then we can turn it around. If we can be so efficient in stitching pictures together, we could use it for, as Joachim said, gesture control. So that's sort of where it all started. And that's when I came into the company, and Joachim as well, it was when they did their seed round in 2012. They were going out and wanted to get some money into the company. And I came in as their first investor, and Joachim came in as their first CEO. This was way back in 2012. And it was all based on this idea.
Okay, great. And now it's all about sound. It's not all about. This is the news you launched this week. So Joachim Niedermark, tell us a story, and we will be ready.
Johan, it's not sound; it's stereo. It's two cameras.
No, I mean, sorry. Yeah, but when I hear stereo, I mean two cameras, stereo camera. But actually, I have questions about sound, so we will come to that.
Yeah.
So it's a bit early, I believe. So, Joachim Niedermark, go for it.
Thank you so much. Again, I think this is our third webinar in the theme of gesture control. And for new listeners, still, I wanted to give sort of the quick background. So, gesture control is about tracking and detecting objects, or hands and body, and by doing that we can use hand and body to interact with electronic devices, and we can do that from a distance. We need a camera sensor, we need some sort of computing device, and we need obviously our software in order to make that work. And if you add all that together, you get a system that enables gesture interaction or gesture control. So with that said, back to what we launched here earlier this week, the Crunchfish Skeleton stereo. And this is sort of a further extension of the product and the gesture solution we have had in the past, where we add even more sort of functionality. And basically, as the name indicates, stereo, we're talking about not only one, but two camera sensors. They are usually mounted in a way similar to the human eyes, with some sort of distance between them. And by doing that, you get sort of a very, very accurate depth information. And by using also this depth information, you get the accuracy in the interaction, and enables, for instance, that you can manipulate and interact with virtual objects, because you need that kind of information to enable that. Also, with two sensors, and they are actually usually also pretty wide angle, meaning that you get a large interaction space from the equipment, meaning that we can add also interaction with two hands. And that is also part of this solution, that you have two hands interaction. We're using stereo cameras, and to visualize this a little, I would like to show you a short video how this could look like. So this is how it could look when you use this kind of technology in a pair of AR glasses. You have the virtual objects. You can use the hands to take the whole world in your hand. You can use both hands for zoom in and zoom out. And what is important here as well is that each point of the hands is an interaction point. So it doesn't matter if you use your index finger or the whole hand when, for instance, pushing a button, it still sort of is detected. And that is sort of one of the beauties with skeleton models and using all these points on each hand for the interaction and tracking. So this is all enabled with the skeleton platform, as I talked about in the previous session. And this is where we use sort of our in-house developed tools, the training data, the design neural nets, and what we then enable is a number of different solutions. And the latest here is the multi-hand interaction, where we use, again, not only one but two stereo cameras. So this is sort of the base, the fundament, and there will be more coming out from this platform for sure. But moving on to today's topic, which is use cases. So I want to dig a little deeper into sort of the areas where gesture interaction or hand tracking make most sense. And we have identified three areas that I would like to home in a little more on. One is the augmented and virtual reality. The second is automotive, and then I will say a few words about the public screen area as well. And why these areas are important is that gesture control will be or will be a fundamental sort of way of interacting or to be used in this kind of environment. And that is what I will sort of tell you more about here during today's session. So starting off with the XR use cases. So this includes both AR and VR. We can see three different areas here. We have the augmented reality glasses for consumers, and looking at the upper right image here, this is a pair of Ray-Ban, but actually this is what we would call smart glasses. It's not AR glasses per se, because they don't have a display, but it is smart glasses. So there are cameras, there are computing power in them. You're able to, pick up a phone call or make video recording, take photos and so on. And I think this is the first great step where we see where consumer AR glasses is starting to come together. A great form factor is crucial for this to be a product for daily use. You can see that in this specific case, they're designed by Ray-Ban as a sunglasses, but this could be, of course, regular glasses as well. In the longer term, we see these kind of glasses as replacements for mobile phones, and to happen, obviously they need to have a nice form factor. The second one is the industrial use case for augmented reality glasses, and in this case, maybe the form factor is less important. You will get paid to wear them, so it's more important that they are comfortable and that they add sort of value, efficiency, and maybe even more importantly, cost reduction for the company. And the third one is the virtual reality headset, and this is the kind of headset where we add sort of an experience. So this is an area where you can use it for instance, in this case, training. This is a project we've had in the past with Class VR, where we use VR headsets for education purposes. The difference between AR and VR, by the way, is that in VR, you enter into the virtual reality world, and you not see what's happening around you. In AR, you will see. So it's more an augmented sort of experience. But again, the virtual reality experience, immersiveness, and screen quality will become a crucial piece in that. So taking it one step more into the consumer AR, I want to pinpoint a few use cases, and one of them is sports. This is an area where this kind of product really come into play. You can wear them, you can use them as sunglasses, but you can also get all this interesting information about your training session: speed, pulse, distance, navigation, and all the statistics. And I'm thinking about biking, skiing, maybe sailing, and a lot of other sports as well, for that sake. But the important thing here is that you can get all this information instantly showed in front of your eyes. The second one is what I've showed here in the lower left, and this is as close as you get to consumer glasses and sort of the next future, or the future of augmented reality. This is where you replace your mobile phone with the glasses. You will get sort of the more instant information, for instance, flight information. If you are in the airport, you will get sort of what you have in the mobile phone with maybe messages. You will be able to pick up a call. You will be able to get other kind of messages into this device. And I think this is one part is to put that in a form factor that makes sense. The second is to have an interaction method, in this case gesture control, of course, where you can sort of in an easy way control the device. And the third one will be to make sure that you don't get like an overflow of information into these glasses. So we have some way to go to get to this product, but we are getting close to this for sure. And the third one I wanted to pinpoint is the more advanced kind of experience that you can get with augmented reality, and that is when you really add the augmented world into the glasses. Currently possible to do with Microsoft HoloLens, for instance. They are pretty far from the lower left glasses here, design-wise and form factor-wise, but we will get there. And what value these add is, of course, that you can have sort of real augmented objects into the world, and that could include in games as is shown here, but it's also where you really use your glasses for your or in your daily life. You could, for instance, use this for watching TV, but it's not only that. You can decide where you want to have your TV in your home. You could easily move your TV with just a hand gesture, because the glasses will keep track on the location of where you decide to have your TV, as an example. We will get there, and I think we have an exciting future here to look at. Moving on to the industrial use case, there are a number of them. This is a few. We have the logistic one here up on the left corner. This is where you can use the glasses for warehouses or picking items. So you get sort of a list of items. You get the shelf where they are located. When you get to the shelf, you can get pinpointed in what specific box you will pick your items. And then when you get your item, you can sort of check that box in the glasses that, okay, I picked this item, and now I move forward. The lower right is an assembly line. Here we use the AR glasses for assembling pretty advanced batteries. So they are mounted in a number of different layers, and it needs to be in the right order. And to get the efficiency of, for instance, new people and new employees coming into the assembly line, this is one example where you can use this for training. And gesture control obviously is part of this, in order to have a convenient, you have your hands free and you can conveniently do the work in parallel with getting the instructions for what you're about to do. And then the third one is, in this case, is the Chinese police. They are using this for identifying people and vehicles. It could also be used as a body camera where you can record happenings in your daily life. So these are all examples of more industrial or an enterprise use cases where both gestures and augmented reality come into play. So the third one I wanted to show is the automotive, and this is where you get from sort of not only having the body, the hand interaction and the hand tracking as is in play when we talk about the augmented and virtual reality. This is a use case where the whole body come into play. So in the car environment, we have, for instance, interaction with infotainment, and this is where you use your hand for controlling things in the car, both front seat and back seat, and that could be navigation, pick up a phone call, or controlling sound. The even more important use case in automotive is the safety use case, and this is where we use hand and body tracking to monitor the driver and occupant. So these concepts or solution is called DMS and OMS, so driver and occupant monitoring systems, and they are used to detect and track and keep track on what's going on in the car. So is the driver keeping his hand on the steering wheel? Is he holding a mobile phone in the hand? Is he distracted in any way? Are there children struggling in the back seat? And all of these sort of parameters are adding together and can indicate a certain level of sort of safety or lack of safety in the vehicle. And together with AI, you can create warning systems for the driver and increase the safety in cars. And this is an extremely sort of exciting area for us, because it's an area where gesture and body and hand tracking come into play, because it will be a requirement in the car industry to have this kind of logic in the car environment in order to increase safety for the vehicle. So to pinpoint a few further use cases, I mentioned the public screens. We are sort of monitoring the public screen area. When we get requests, we act on those. It's not an area where we had sort of full sales attention. That is in the augmented virtual reality and automotive currently. However, public screens have come more into our minds with the pandemic, where people is not very happy to touch screens out of the street. And to use gestures is a nice way to interact with this kind of screens instead of touching them. You can also do that from a distance, which adds sort of a certain convenience, because it's often very big displays and you don't maybe need to stay right close to them. We have the in-flight infotainment system. They are very similar to interacting with the displays in, for instance, a car, but driven by the same sort of rationale here with that you don't want to touch the display due to contamination. You rather, and maybe for convenience as well, you can interact with the screen by using gestures. And then the third one here is the smart TV. Also like a similar way of interacting, but the distance is further. And what I think is a little special with that use case as well is that most often you are not one, you are several people in the sofa in front of the TV. So you need to have a system to keep track on the number of people you have in front of the TV, their hands, where are they? But also you need to have a system that can sort of make sure that you know who's in control of the remote control. So people not all the time, just changing channel and yeah, you know, sound or whatever. So you need to have a logic for that, and that is something that we enable with our technology as well. So trying to summarize this, so we have a product that is very versatile, meaning that you can adapt it, and with the platform, this Crunchfish Skeleton platform, we are able to generate, I would say, any use case and enable any kind of device interaction using your hand and body. So it's more a matter of where we want to have our focus and our attention. The hand and body tracking enables the flexibility in this space as well, and again enables this kind of capabilities. And then what I also think is important is that we have 50 million plus devices shipped on the market, and this is proving the technology and the team's capability of developing software that can become commercial. But also it shows the scalability of this kind of technology, that it's software based, it's flexible, it's generic. So when we get the products, it doesn't really matter exactly which product it is and how it's configured. We can sort of adapt to that and easily make this scale. So with that, I want to say thank you for listening, and I think myself and the panel is more than happy to get questions here on this topic.
Well done, Joachim. Thank you so much for this presentation. And I can see on our LinkedIn chat forum, there's questions coming in, and also so use that possibility. First, I will ask a couple of questions. I'm just curious. There are, well, I know of AR headsets on the market, and I believe there are plenty of competitors. What would you say is your unique selling point? What makes your product unique?
I think it's coming back to this platform thinking and what's included in that, and that is that we design our own neural nets in-house, but also we have the whole process of how we sort of collect data, how we generate this image material that is needed to train the algorithm and make them very, very efficient. And we have that in a coming seminar as well, where we will dig deeper into that. But I think the whole process in our development chain, that we are in control of all the different steps, including testing material and neural nets and everything, makes sort of our company unique. And it also gives the solution the matter of flexibility that I have talked about here, and then the performance, of course. I think looking at sort of the performance and what we are showing here with very limited sort of neural nets, which means that it's a limited solution which needs limited processing power, and that is a big advantage as well, that we can run in many different chipsets.
Thank you, and now I will welcome the other panelists, Daniel and Joachim. If I'll give you the same question about the compared to your competitors, other headsets and glasses, what would you say, Daniel, is your uniqueness?
So I mean, what we deliver here is a software component to these glasses. So we're really providing these glasses with an additional feature, which many of them do not have at the moment. I would say most of them. So there's a lot of AR and VR headset manufacturers that has solely rely on controllers, and what we're making possible here is to use the already existing stereo cameras on the glasses to enable like full hand interaction on these glasses. And I think we are the only one so the other solutions that exist today is basically in-house solutions within Meta or within Microsoft. So there's not really anyone who's providing these stereo solutions which can be directly integrated into the existing hardware, which is, yeah.
And the fact that you don't have any hand controls will give you an advantage in developing, you believe?
So the advantage is, so if you're wearing a pair of those Ray-Bans on the streets, which will have screens in the future, and then you don't want to walk around with controls in your hand. You need to interact with these glasses without having special gloves or anything. That is a necessity. And yeah, there's people are not going to use controllers for normal day use like that. For games, for sure. Still.
Joachim Samuelsson, anything you want to add on the uniqueness?
Well, I think as Daniel touched upon as well, we don't do products. We don't do applications, Johan. That's not what we do. So when we look at these, I think as a person you can think of, well, where is Crunchfish glasses? Well, we are a component in all those glasses. So when you see those Ray-Bans, or you see other Chinese manufacturers or Korean or Japanese or wherever they come from, we don't do that product, that consumer product, but we provide them with a technology that enables them to have the gesture interaction in the way that Joachim described. Sort of that's what we do, and we don't have too much competition, I would say, on the world market for our component. And it is like Daniel said, it's then in-house developed by Meta. This is the Facebook folks, or sort of from Microsoft, who's done this sort of HoloLens sort of things. But we are an independent player that could go with our solution anywhere in the market. And I think it's important to realize that. So we're not competing with any of those specifically, because we don't do glasses. That's not what we come up with. We have a component that enables glasses to have excellent gesture control.
Yeah. Let's dive into a question from you who are watching. It's Philip Olsson. He wonders, are Crunchfish planning to create these type of glasses or just make a payment solution for them? Do you get the question?
Yeah, so yes, as Joachim mentioned, we're not making glasses. We are creating software that enables gesture control and a way to interact with these glasses using hands. So we add software. The manufacturers of these glasses are our customers, our licensees in this case. And
I realized we answered that just early on, but let's take the other part of the question when it comes to well, a payment solution, because when you also into digital cash, we have that every second week, as we mentioned earlier. Are there any possibilities that you can combine these two parts of these two companies and get even more services?
Well, I think as Philip is describing, I think it's that's one use case and we have from the digital cash side, we have purchased the rights to use that technology for authentication or for authorization of a payment. It's sort of, we have a smart idea, but the main focus for the gesture control area is not for payments. It is for AR, VR. It is for public screen, and as Joachim described, for automotive. This is where we see for the main sort of use case. But when AR glasses will hit the world, replace maybe the mobile phones, we'll need to authenticate sort of a payments. And then I think that technology is really good for making digital cash payments as well. But that's it's a little bit into the future, because we don't have the AR glasses out there really in a big scale for consumers yet.
Just tell me about, I realize when we have the technique of detecting objects, that's a technique we know of, And then it comes to gesture control. Just tell us about the difference, all the what makes it so more critical and crucial, or harder to understand. Just develop some thoughts about that.
Yeah, so I can take that. So detecting of object is a typical task for like neural networks to recognize typical examples, you know, like cats or dogs or cars or something like that. So what we find is we find hands, but that's just the beginning of the problem. So you need to find where the hands are, and then you need to very accurately analyze the hands and find out what is the position of each joints, what are the angles of the fingers, etc., etc. And this, I think, for me personally, that's what makes this so much fun, because there's really no end to how far you can take this. You can always improve and improve and improve. We have working existing solutions that works today, but there's basically no limit to how much you can improve the tactility and everything. It's a fun project to work on.
I'm thinking of the camera. Does it really understand that it's your hands, or could you photobomb another person by sticking up and well, take the gesture, steal it? Is that a possibility?
So it depends on the setup of the cameras you have. So the advanced system today, they actually capture a lot of things, like even around, but these are VR headsets. So they capture even your body at this time. So then they can see that your hands is actually connected to your body. But if you just have cameras pointing forward, there's no way for the system to know if someone is photobombing it with a hand.
But could it read your fingerprints? Oh, that's your hand. Oh, that's very.
That it could, but that's not the technology we have. So it doesn't have the resolution to read the fingerprints.
Yeah,
that's what you mentioned earlier, Daniel, with this endless possibilities of developing. So fingerprints is somewhere in the future, but not on the roadmap for the moment.
I'm thinking of a situation where you have your glasses and your gesture control, and then you're interacting with a public screen, and then you're doing gestures suited for the public screen, not for your glasses. How do that kind of interaction? Well, how do you solve that? So that your glasses understand this is not aimed for myself. This is aimed for the public screen. Do you get my question?
I understand the question, absolutely. So I mean, I think it like a parallel that I did before, like you interact with things in your glasses like you do in the ordinary world. They're just virtual things. So just because you're using your hands as you normally do for everything, you pick up coffee, and so the glasses are not going to start, you know, it's not like you're hammering on your keyboard, virtual keyboard. The glasses are going to understand, or you're going to see what's going on. I don't think you have, of course, you have to take that into account, but I don't think it's an actual problem that there's going to be this mass confusion of what are you interacting with at the moment.
Yeah, I'm thinking of we was talking about sound earlier. I was thinking of the possibility of how do you interact when speaking to this system? Could you give some kind of instructions verbally and then together with your gestures? Is that a technique, your possibilities?
Yeah, well, we don't do voice control per se, but we definitely see that what we call multimodal interaction is sort of a possibility where for certain things, for instance, it could be creating messages in this kind of glasses, likely it's easier to speak with the glasses instead of trying to use a virtual keyboard in some cases. So I would say a combination of several interaction methods is probably what we will see in the future. Yeah.
Darling, who are you talking to? I'm talking to my glasses. That would be a situation. Okay, so just tell me about your visions for the future, augmented reality. Joachim Samuelsson, you're all visionary people, but let's get you going. What can you see in the future from this, Joachim Samuelsson?
Well, if you talk AR, I think what Apple has been talking about for a long time, that AR glasses will replace your it won't be the mobile device anymore, like Joachim mentioned. It will be the AR glasses, because it will free up both your hands. Because if you think of it, when you hold the mobile in one hand and you press with the other hand, you're sort of occupying both hands in order to interact. When you have AR glasses, then both hands are free, and you lift up your head, you will see people in the eye instead. So I think there is a new world coming with that. So that's the exciting thing there, that when that happens, then we will have a mass market for AR glasses. You need nice form factors, and I think that's where we are really strong. And then I think the automotive is interesting because it's regulatory requirements. Telling the car manufacturers, you need to be able to do a few things, and gesture control using cameras there are ideal to do all these things, which are regulatory. So there are two. These are, I think, are the two sort of main things that is sort of coming. And right now, I think a lot of the big companies in the world are taking position, and we are one of those technology providers that actually could help them with in the automotive space as well as in the AR space. So that's exciting right now for this area.
Yeah. And what would be the next step for after XR skeleton stereo? What are the next level?
Yeah. So
this was Monday news. This is just 4 days ago.
Yeah. We have forgotten about it, Johan. That's okay.
No. Right. So what will be the next step?
I mean, we will continue to evolve these different tracks of our technology, and I think adding now stereo this week is one important step in this. I think moving forward, there will be attention to these car safety use cases where we will probably see more cameras in that setting as well. One thing is to be able to have the driver monitor system in place, where you need probably one camera, maybe in the back camera mirror, but the back mirror. But in order to see sort of the back seat, for instance, you need more cameras to do that. So adding more camera sensors and what that then requires from the system is likely one thing that we will be looking for here moving forward.
Daniel, do you agree? Do you have anything more to say on this subject?
Future products, I see a lot of potential things. There's I think the interaction with public screens, that is going to be that is not a space where there is a lot of things yet, and I think that's going to soon be a commodity that you very easily can interact with the screen without even touching it. So moving things around, just like a touch screen basically, but you're gesturing in the air. So you just bring the interaction away from the screen. That is something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Here's a question from Johan Klingberg, and he writes, how much have the pandemic affected the sales process and product launches on the customer side? Will there be a catch-up effect? Who will answer that?
I can take that. So I think it's a combination. So there are things that has affected their sort of evolvement and development negatively, but also there are things that has sort of been added to it when it comes to use cases. So I touched on that with the public screens, where you don't want to sort of touch the screens, and that is one thing that is driving sort of new use cases. Volume wise, I don't think it has affected that much. So it's more that we are on a journey. If we look at where for instance the AR glasses are today, we will need sort of one or so generation of hardware in order for sort of the form factor to come to place. So I show this this photo of the Facebook Meta glasses, which is smart glasses, but they are not augmented reality glasses. But the next generation of that kind of hardware will have the display, and then this gesture control will definitely be a part of that. And so to conclude, I would say not that much. We are on a journey. There is a lot of things happening in the hardware space, and I foresee a catch-up effect at the point when the hardware is in place and that start to ship with a good form factor. On the automotive side, we are actually on the road there. So by 2025, this will be sort of regulated functionality.
When it comes to automotive, you're always on the road. So I believe
we are.
Sorry, just joking.
It's rolling for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, why aren't we in a situation where we all have this technique already? Well, I heard about AR many years ago, but I don't see it around on the streets. What's the obstacle, and what will be needed to get that giant leap?
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. Sorry.
Daniel, yeah, Daniel.
Yeah, I can take. So I think basically what we need in some way is to take what's I can't see the phone now. so what you have in your phone, basically that type of technology needs to be compressed into a pair of glasses. So that is the physical hardware challenge that is standing in the way of this happening right now. Okay. So all of the technology is there. It just needs to be compressed into a form factor that it's actually wearable without looking like something from the space age. Yeah.
Do we have what would you think would be the tipping point to make it more out there? You have the very interested people, the nerds people, they know the technique. How will it make it for ordinary people? What will make that? What will be the tipping point, you think? Joachim Samuelsson?
Apple coming out with it, I think that usually changes a lot of things. They have then perfected the technology, and then it will come on the Android devices as well. But I think we've been waiting actually for Apple for some time. They've been talking about it, and I think every day we're coming nearer, and I think that will be a huge boost for the whole area, because then it will mean that everybody will rush to have excellent interaction. Okay. And it's difficult when you take it to the form factors of consumer glasses, because you don't have too much, in the Microsoft HoloLens case for the industrial AR. It's a whole helmet with a lot of sensors and a lot of battery power, but now all of a sudden you need to do it with extremely efficient algorithms, and I think that's where we excel, to have high performance in that area as well. So we really want to see this launch happening, and yeah. I think Apple will launch when they feel that the product is sort of at their standard of use cases.
What do you, if you guess, what time are we talking about?
I think it's coming near. They've certainly been talking about it for almost too long, I would say, because Tim Cook, their CEO, was sort of saying that this will replace the mobile phone. This was years back, so it's coming nearer every day. But
yeah, but when you say nearer, is it this year or in 2 years or 5 years?
I think it's probably, maybe, I don't know, Joachim, what would you say, a year or maybe 2? But it's certainly not 5. It's closer.
Yeah, so something like that, 2-ish years, I would imagine. But yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard to say. They're very
Yeah.
sensitive, so we don't know really. But they have been talking about it for a very long time.
Here's a question from Jenny Hanel. Does this work if you don't have, well, not all of us that have 2 hands or 10 fingers? Is the possibility to use if you don't have it all there, hands and fingers?
Yes, it will be possible. So it's not our focus right now to account for disabilities like that, but to some extent it will work. In the extreme, you can't use, if you don't have any fingers, you can't use a keyboard. So you're gonna see, depending on the disability, it's gonna be the same effect here, I think. If you can use a keyboard, you will be able to use gesture interaction. If you cannot use a keyboard in any way, then probably no, I would say.
Yeah, but it might be solved in the longer term. I mean, you talk about voice control.
Yes, you will have to revert to something else than gesture control.
Okay.
Yeah. If you don't have any fingers, for example, then yeah, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. I'm thinking of when it comes to your development, where are the challenges? Where are you been struggling with for a long time, and when you go back to your work after breakfast now in 10 minutes, what are you focusing at the moment, Daniel?
Yeah, so my focus is basically always evolve and improve. So right now we're doing a new focused effort to collect more data, a lot of user-facing data. So basically, when the camera is looking at the user, so we developed a pretty rigorous process where we can annotate this data automatically or very efficiently. So, but maybe Joachim said here, we will talk about this in the next seminar a little bit.
So nothing makes you out of sleep? No, you're worried? Oh, this is a big problem. What are you struggling with?
No, I'm having fun, so I just look forward to going back to work.
Okay, well, okay. So just let's talk about getting to the finishing line here. Let's talk about privacy. We saw the Chinese police gathering information about the people. How does that come in here, and how much do you work with these kind of issues? You working?
To some extent, there are cases where this can become an issue, but I mean, we are not in our system. We are not using images at all like that. So we are using the images just to find hands, and we throw, sort of say, everything away. So it's we don't have any images. We don't collect any images. We just use that to get sort of information where the hand is in that specific image that come into to the system at that very moment. So there are no privacy issues whatsoever with using our system. But then for camera surveillance and others like the police, it's another thing, and there, yeah, of course, it might be sort of a something to consider.
So the only thing you really your area will be Friday night. Joachim says, "I know where your hands are." That's okay. Just a final question about this technology. We've seen, well, some of it in movies, I would say. I'm thinking of we have in the old Terminator 2 film, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Are You Sarah Connor? And we have these, well, the text info in his glasses, the first, and then of course Minority Report. We have it. How much is this close to the where we are at the moment, or just this is well, that has nothing to do where we are. Could you just give us examples from movies from the world that we've seen through sci-fi films and stuff like that? Samuelsson, I think.
I think we can. What you just said, I think that can be done in those movies. I think we are beyond that, and I think what is happening is that people are now building an entire ecosystem, a whole world of we're talking about virtual objects sort of floating around. This is sort of like Pokemon Go, I guess, sort of in real world, and but there will be a lot of different sort of virtual objects that then without technology you can interact with. It's good to have two hands if you're gonna, if you're gonna turn something, if you're gonna spin it, or you want to look at the other side. And I think it's the technology is sort of now there. Now it's about building sort of out interesting use cases and then providing the technology that it's becomes a household product with all what that is happening. But I think we're certainly beyond the Minority Report and the German movie that you were.
Yeah, so are you Sarah Corner? Okay, so can you give us an examples if you want to could we use movies and games for inspiration? That's a possibility within that film. We're trying to do that in the real world.
I think games are an excellent source of inspiration. They push
games
the boundary all the time. Games push the boundary. Absolutely, games are really excellent in that respect, I think, and they are certainly always pushing the boundary. Huge budgets, and they do great things, and that's, I think, they're driving the development forward, and that comes into mainstream sort of applications. But games are usually a forerunner, I would say. Yeah. So it's interesting what they can do.
Yeah, Daniel, do you use that when you develop stuff, inspiration from games and films and stuff?
You're on mute, Daniel. Yeah.
So sorry. So yeah. So I think the Minority Report has always been like a good example, and something where we are not yet, but not too far away from now either. To basically virtualize the touchscreen,
because that's for ordinary people. I would say movies and games. That's a way of introducing the way of thinking in many ways.
Mm.
I would say. Okay, final words. One sentence each. What will be the situation in 5 years from now when it comes to gesture control? Be visionary of. Okay, Daniel, you start.
In 5 years from now, people would not even, like think about gesture control as a thing. It's just there. It just works. It's like you like kids, touch a screen which is not touchable. People are going to use gestures for everything and just expect them to work.
Yeah. Joachim Nedermark.
Yeah, I agree with that. So we will take that step from that we did some years ago in the mobile phone space, where we went from keyboard to touch screens. That step will be the next logic step. I also foresee that in 5 years we will have sort of glasses out there that is in a way replacement of mobile phones. I certainly think that mobile phones at that point will still exist, but we will have glasses that sort of manage most of the tasks you're using your mobile phone for today. And in the automotive space, in 5 years, that is sort of a regulatory key feature in every car and truck. So that will be an exciting time to be.
And Joachim Samuelsson, 5 years from now.
Yeah, I agree what the other Joachim and Daniel said, and I guess just seeing it in payments then, which we're also working with. As it was someone who was asked that, you will be there, that you just authorize your payments by doing a cool gesture, and then it's paid. So it's coming, and it's gesture will be, as Daniel said, it will be everywhere, just like we have touchscreens today everywhere. We will have gestures everywhere.
And a final question here. I have friends, I realize, they don't control the gestures, the body language at all. Will there be a future for them as well? They can't control themselves. They're just waving around, and they can't control it. So Is there a future for them?
I think there's a future for them.
Yeah, I think so too. I actually
with some hesitation, I think we have to say yes to that.
Yeah, okay. That will be the final.
I think it's good. I don't want to comment. I got that question from an Italian guy a few years back.
Hey, what did you say? Yeah. I'm closing my TV set all the time.
A lot of things happening without his knowing it. So
okay, well,
but we will manage.
So, and I think this hour was quite under control. Hands up if you think it was under control. One of three. Well, okay, thank you. So thanks all. Thank you, the panelists.
Johan, I'd like to announce if Joachim could put back the presentation. We want to do announcements for future webinars as well. If you can do that, Joachim, put the presentation back. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So let's just do that quickly. As you know, we're running on a four webinar cycle, and we actually swapped it around. 18th of March, it's a big Indian holiday. They play Holi. Exactly. So we're actually going to do a Crunchfish shares and warrants instead, and then the presentation. This is from ToneTag, and very interesting Indian sort of fintech company who do ultrasound interaction. Will be on the 25th of March. Is their co-founder Vivek Singh who will be presenting. We will be talking about security for digital cash. It's going to be an interesting one on April Fool's Day. And then on April 8th, then we're back. And it most likely will be Daniel, who will take us into the very interesting area of how we generate and how we work with training data for gesture interaction. That's sort of the next four sessions we plan to do.
And this webinar is called Survival of the Fittest, and you are now looking into the face of Charles Darwin, and it's not survival of the happiest, I would say. It's he looks a bit sorrow. But we will meet each other in 1 week from now. Crunchfish shares and warrants. Thank you, panelists, Daniel, Joachim, and Joachim. Well done, all three of you. And thank you all for participating and joining in from wherever you are. I hope you enjoyed. And please give us feedback. Send an email or just, something on LinkedIn or wherever you are. So thanks again, and take care. Here's Mob Deep with Survival of the Fittest.